All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is February 23rd, 2026. My name is Coach Kerrigan. I'm a lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That's a day trading division of the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. Thank you so much for being here. All right, we'll take a look at how I made $1,000 today with a $46,000 account, just using 4,600 of my accounts, 10%. So first, we'll take a look at the markets. Move all this stuff out of the way. All right, so into the close, 10-minute. Got a weak bear flag, 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. So weak 10-minute uptrend. All right, really more of just bearish consolidation, if you ask me, on the 2-hour chart. You got the candlesticks and the 3 EMA are riding underneath the 8 EMA. You get the candlesticks and the 3 EMA riding underneath the 8 EMA on the 2-hour chart. And you can see we got the spaces open between the 3 and the 8. 3 is underneath the 8, so it's a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. On the daily candle, we got, looks like a lower low on the high. As far as the high side goes, 690.06, and this is 690 exactly. So lower high, lower low, closing underneath, bearish cross underneath the 17 EMA, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath the uptrend line. At the top of quadrant 4, still bullish, but also still in a downtrend that's lingering from before. On the weekly candle, we've got, we're still top of quadrant 4 up here. So we're still bullish and in an uptrend. All right, top of quadrant 4. See all the green dots? Still bullish and in an uptrend. We haven't broken any, made any lower lows. On the monthly chart, again, all the green dots, we haven't made any lower lows. This is still top of quadrant 4. Here's the origin of the rally back in April. This is still bullish and in an uptrend for SPY on the monthly chart. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. All right, QQQ on the 10-minute, same as SPY, bear flag. So I'm going to call it a weak 3-candle, 10-minute bullish or uptrend right there. Kind of a bear flag, but uptrend right there on the 10-minute. Just a weak 3-candle uptrend. They haven't made any higher highs, so it's a weak uptrend. On the 2-hour, you got the 3 EMA and the candlesticks riding underneath the 8 EMA. So you got a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. And on the daily candle, we've got, looks like an inside day. Let me make sure. Low here, 599.23. Low here, 599.05. So that's a lower low right there. So lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish trap. Underneath the 17, falling 17. Underneath all-time high anchored VWAP. And we could probably extend this a little bit further. And in the middle of quadrant 4. So that's going to be bullish, but still in a downtrend there on QQQ. Weekly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. till they break this low right here. That's for QQQ. And then on a monthly chart, a lot of green dots here. So you can see we haven't made any lower lows below the 17. So this is still bullish and in an uptrend on QQQ. Let's take a look at Stinker. Stinker on the daily chart. Lower high, lower low. Closing under a bearish trap. Closing underneath the head and shoulders neckline. Closing underneath the falling 17 EMA. Closing underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. Closing underneath the all-time low anchored VWAP. Knocking on the door of the lower third here. Almost bearish. It's neutral and still in a downtrend for Stinker. All right, IWM got a lower high, lower low, closing underneath bearish cross, underneath flat 17, underneath all-time high anchored VWAP, in the middle of quadrant 4, so that's bullish, but still in an uptrend. They haven't made any lower lows. Maybe made a lower low right now. Let's see what we got here. The low there is 258.51. The low here is 258.10. So now it's in a downtrend on IWM. Just barely, just squeaking out if you put in this high and then take this low. So there's IWM daily chart. Bullish, but technically in a downtrend. Really just moving off to the right. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Lower high, lower low, closing under bearish trap, underneath the 17, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, in the middle of quadrant 4, that's bullish. They got a low right here. They made a lower low. All right, so they're in a downtrend as well. Really just moving off to the right. All right, but technically in a downtrend, you got a low underneath the 17. They turned around and made a lower low. So technically downtrend on Diamond Dow on the daily chart. So this is bullish, but in a downtrend currently. Take a look at silver and gold. Silver having a nice day today. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the falling 17. Under the downtrend line right here. Right there we got a downtrend line. And you can see price action is not made a higher high yet, so they're still in a downtrend, but they're up in the upper third, so they're bullish. All right, but still in a downtrend on silver. Let's take a look at gold. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Near the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Still in an uptrend on gold, USO. Okay, USO putting in outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the rising 17, over the... This is a 4-year high anchored VWAP up in quadrant 4, that's bullish, and in an uptrend for USO. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG gapped up this morning and lost it all. Okay, so UNG got a, let's see what the high is here. 1238. What's the high here? 1237. So higher high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, even with this cold weather, under the 12-month high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right here. I'm going to zoom out. You can see there's the high. This is the all-time low right there. Okay, this is the 12-month high. You can see they're clearly down in quadrant 1, so that's bearish. Yep, and still in a downtrend. You see the sticks and the 3 riding underneath the 8. All right, so that's bearish and in a downtrend. On the technicals, T2101, we just went sideways today. We gave up everything that we made yesterday. As far as participation goes, it didn't change. T2122, while I expected this inverse head and shoulders to produce results up here, clearly it did not. All right, so we went down. We actually got the boot. All right, we were airborne over the buyer's chop zone, over the 50-yard line, over the seller's chop zone. We wound up landing, all right, touching ground here in the sell zone, where we just camped out for the rest of the day in the sell zone. So that's T21.22. Obviously a disappointment for the bulls. Big hoorah for the bears. It's a 15-minute chart right there. And you can see we beat out a lot of lower lows. Probably even beat out, no, not quite. Didn't quite beat out that one. But we sure tied it right there. Okay, so you can see this is all the way back in January. Okay, we're almost done with February. So that's T21.22, 15-minute chart. No such luck there for the bulls. Not today. 15-minute chart on the T21.23. Remember, Friday we made new all-time highs. Well, we got a bearish gap down that was clearly not filled by the bulls. All right, and then we have a low. We made lower lows. Did they make higher highs? They did not. So they're in a downtrend, but they're up over the rising 200 SMA. So they're still bullish, but currently in a downtrend or a pullback. 3-bar chart. You can see clearly at the top of quadrant 4. This is our April origin of our rally. Made a new all-time high. Pulled back, made a higher low, went up, made a new all-time high over a rising 200 SMA. So we're at the top of quadrant 4, so that's bullish, all right, and in an uptrend on T21.23 3-bar chart. Stinker on the 15. It's in a downtrend, all right, you got a low. We made lower lows, okay, so... And nothing to brag about here. You can see clearly we're in a downtrend. We're underneath. See this head and shoulders neckline. That would be the head. This would be the right shoulder. This would be the left shoulder over here, these two. And you can see that would be our neckline right here where the neck comes down to there. Neck comes down to there. We're under the neckline again. So you can see on the 15-minute chart, clearly could not hold the higher ground over the falling 200 SMA. All right, still underneath this all-time pink line. That's the all-time high anchored VWAP. So we're still bearish. All right, and in a downtrend on the 15. Take a look at the U.S. dollar index, possibly closing near the 97.72 area. Okay, they've started a new uptrend, but they haven't worked any of this area up here above the prior high. I mean, they've made a new high, all right, but they have not worked this area up here. So all those fields up here, those rows of corn or whatever, need to be picked, and we're clearly not going up. I don't know what the deal is on the dollar, but if it wants to go back and make a downtrend, I'm all in favor of it. All right, so there's the U.S. dollar index. You can see here's the 2025 high. We get in a daily downtrend where we commence making lower highs and lower lows. Again, another lower high up here, and then a lower low, and then again another lower high up here, and then a lower low, and then another lower high up here, and then a lower low, and then from here, we base out into a bear flag right there where we started a daily downtrend, and then you can see we started a daily uptrend right through here. And then we started a downtrend, and now we're back into an uptrend simply because price, not on Friday, but on Thursday, made a higher high. You can see that wick right here comes up over the top of this peak right there. So we got, what you see here is you got a higher low, see the valley low, and then you've got a higher high because of that wick up there. So there's dollar starting a new uptrend, but definitely not moving up. I don't know what the deal is there. Okay, so there's US dollar index on that. That's it for me. We'll take a look at how I made money. It was a very sloppy, it was very difficult day. I'm going to say that right now. Okay, I'm going to go back to SPY. I got to tell you, it seemed like everything I touched turned to crap. All right, so I tried to trade silver, okay, but it didn't get going till, well, 30 minutes into the end of the day, okay? That's silver for you, okay? That's me, all right? Just clearly did not get going. I tried to trade Cleveland Cliffs. I had a beautiful 10-minute uptrend right through here. See if we can dig that out. Let's move it over. Okay, game plan right there. Cliff on the 10. So we have a nice 10-minute uptrend. You can see the sticks and the 3 are riding up over the 8. We're up over VWAP. We're holding the higher ground. We're coming up, looking like we're going to produce a higher high. And yet, yes, we do produce the higher high. Clearly don't hold the higher high, but we produce a higher high. And we go sideways for just an incredible amount of time over VWAP before making that higher high. Again, 30 minutes before the close, they decide to finally start moving up. Okay, so again, everything I touched turned to crap. All right, Intel, looking for a 1, 2, 3 is a 1 up over 2 and looking for the 3 to go up. And no, we went down. Okay, so there's another one where, you know, clearly everything I touched did not work. All right, bought Qs out of the gate this morning. And I think I bought the 611 or what did I buy? 611s. Maybe the 611s or the 609s. Either way, Qs didn't work. All right, so here's the Qs, 0 DTE. So I didn't buy the 611s. So I obviously bought the 609s. Wait, hold on. Let's put the trading on there. All right, so I bought the 609 right here. See, first thing in the morning. And you can see we had a nice little 10-minute uptrend. I was looking for a continuation of the uptrend, and they had something completely different in store for me right through here. All right, obviously they did not plan to continue with the 10-minute uptrend, and they went down instead. So I wound up losing on that trade, $46. Okay, same with the QQQ here. Again, buying the open. All right, clearly they had something different in store for me. And it says they made $208, but that's probably all going to be erased by the, whatever my commission fee is right there. So, so that's nothing to brag about there. You can see price moves down and over to the right. The only good trade I had was there's this. I mean, I just bought the low. It was only a penny and managed to sell it up here for 3 cents. Okay, so that's no big feat right there on that. This was the only good trade. Was at the very end of the day. You can see I was looking for, you can see here's the blue dot. That's the buy right here. I was looking for price to return to VWAP. Before we close, before we close, not at 5 o'clock tonight or 6 o'clock tonight, actually before 4 o'clock tonight, okay? And they took forever and a nightmare, to get going up there to VWAP, all right? But I bought some, and on this candle rip up there, I sold into strength. And that's how I made the 1800. That's it. Of course, I'm going to take a $375 hit, because I couldn't close these out. So these will get canceled out at 0, not even at 1, at 0. So I will lose 375 off of that. And yeah, and that's it right there. So that's my trading for the day. Total difficult day. A move down and then over to the right. And I got to tell you, everything looked bullish Friday with price moving up, holding the higher ground, and basing out right on top or near this all-time high anchored VWAP. And instead of holding it, they just completely gave it up and more. All right, now they produced a bear flag down here. So I don't know if we're going to consolidate and go back up. So we'll see what happens. So there's SPY. No good trades for me today, other than this one, which was just like a scalp at the end of the day. I mean, I'm buying 0 DTEs that are going to expire in, well, let's see when I buy them. It's just 3:30. So they're going to expire in 45 minutes. And 15 of the 45 minutes I can't trade because it's after hours. All right, so there you go, right there for SPY. That was the only good trade for me for today. Everything else, like, stunk. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, that's it for me for today. I want to wish you all a wonderful evening. I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully, tomorrow is a better day. We'll see.